Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Football Press Conference sponsored by Moe's. Today, joining us at the stand, as always, is going to be head coach Atiba Bradley, and also joining us will be running back Deshaun Larson and linebacker Holt Chappell. Joining us at the stand first is going to be head coach Atiba Bradley with opening statements.
Good afternoon. Appreciate everybody coming out today. It's good to be here after a win. Saturday was a good team victory, very much needed for our program, for our kids, for our coaches, for me, very much needed to kind of get us rolling. Obviously, it was a tale of two halves. We looked at offensively, you look at a half where, we were only able to produce 3 points, a safety, a blocked punt for a touchdown, and then you flip it to the second half where we scored on every possession, including a 13-play, 99-yard drive, that started at our own -1, and so very impressive. The only drive we didn't score on in that half was when we took a knee at the end of the game. So very, very proud of their efforts. Defensively, all in all, I thought defensively we played pretty well. Only gave up 11 points in the first half. Really 2 short porches, which gave them the opportunity to score on one and a field goal on another. And so, and then after that, we pitched a shutout. So very, very proud of the efforts. I know it's always asked, what's the message going into halftime? What are you thinking? Where's your mindset? I got to keep telling you guys, there's no quit in our kids. There is no laying it down is not an option. Not coming out at half and just say, well, this one's lost. It's not something our kids would ever do and could fathom doing. So our guys went in and self-corrected. Coaches made some adjustments, tried to find some things that our kids were confident in, or some things that our kids could go out and execute at a high level, and we did that and played a much better second half. Probably noticed, I'll just kind of mention this, some guys missing. D-tackle Jalen Toussaint, Keelan Mitchell, David Vaugh, strong safety DeMichael Porter, Zach Bergman, Jordan Ledette. And then on offense, we had a couple tight ends, some guy named Deontay Campbell and Dimitri Lloyd. All those guys are day-to-day. We hope to get them back soon and get them back in our rotation so that we can become whole again. So we celebrated the win just in time to welcome nationally ranked UCO, the lone undefeated team in the MIAA. They offensively are in a lot of the top 10 in a lot of categories, but sneakily their defense is doing a dang good job. They're aggressive, they fly to the ball, and they're giving their offense a lot of possessions, which is allowing their offense to have these numbers. You look at the box scores right now, UCO is outscoring their opponents 49-0 in the first quarter. So we've really got to be on it. We've really got to start fast, and we got to get after them. Questions?
Coach, winning that first game of the year, obviously a great thing. Just talk about how big momentum-wise that is for you guys going forward to get that first win under your belt.
Yeah, I think we were all getting to a point where not necessarily pressure, but it was like, when is it gonna come? We knew. I don't think anyone in our minds thought we were going to be 0-4, and sure as heck didn't think we were going to be 0-5, and never thought of being winless. So it was like, hey, when is that first win going to come? And so glad we got that off the table, and now we can start worrying about getting the second win.
And this past week, you guys ran the ball pretty efficiently. Just talk about how important it is to win football games when you're running the ball as well as you did last week.
Well, we talk about it. That balance of running the ball, throwing the ball is a magical thing. I don't think that any team can be successful just throwing the ball or just running the ball. You've got to have balance to keep a defense on their heels. And so when we were able to run the ball, all of a sudden you saw some tight boxes that opened up some shots over the top for some of our guys, and we were able to capitalize on those.
You talked about the UCO offense, and the defense as well, but with the UCO offense, the scores as that many points as they've scored this year. I mean, defensively, what kind of game plan do you have to draw up to slow an offense like that down?
Sure, I think the number one thing, like you said, is slow. You can't get frustrated if you give up some points, but I think we've got to be strategic. And when we want to take away the run, we got to be strategic. And when we want to take away the pass, It's 2024. Numbers are up. So it's never a situation where you're going to go, hey, we're gonna smash the run and the pass on this down. That's just not college football in this day and age. And so we just got to take our shots and just be real strategic about when we want to take away one or the other.
Coach, you mentioned halftime. You're not a rah-rah Vince Lombardi type speaker. You're not a break the chalkboard kind of guy.
Yeah.
But you are a guy who's going to come in and say, hey, fellas, this is what we need to do.
Sure.
What was that we need to do?
Well, honestly, and you can ask the guys, like, it's kind of weird when we're struggling a little bit. I like to let the players talk. I like for it to come from their peers. As much as I want to be on the field with those guys, I can't. Physically and eligibility-wise, I just can't do it anymore. But so when Holt Chappell's out there, he needs to look at Peyton McKee, and they got to talk, and they got to decide that, hey, enough is enough. When Kenny Furman and Joaquin and Deshaun Larson on the field, they got to be able to look in each other's eyes and say, hey, enough is enough. We're not losing this ball game, and that's what happened. Those guys made a stand, and then we came out and played significantly better in the second half.
When we talk about the offense, Coach Myers, first-year offensive coordinator,
Yeah.
really nice for him to see everything click in the second half, get the running game going, get the offensive line and the run game to mesh. That really opens up what Luke can do from the quarterback position, and it just seemed to all come together. The recipe worked the second half. He's got to feel really happy to finally see it all gel together.
Yeah, and I think that's what we've been striving for. Like I mentioned, a balance is so crucial. You're not going to win being lopsided run or pass, and so we've got to go out there and you know the age-old debate: do you run to pass or pass to run? I don't know. It just depends on what the defense is giving you, and so we were able to run to pass in that second half, and that made all the difference.
Coach, how are you?
Good, absolutely.
With the team coming in this week, obviously the quarterback, 4-touchdown performance, receiver head, I think 3 of those are deserved top guys. So when you kind of look at stopping an offense like that, I mean, having your work cut out for you,
Sure.
what kind of goes into that preparation?
Yeah, the quarterback is obviously putting up some crazy numbers, but I think a lot of that is due to the numbers that you're seeing from the tailback. I think their top guy is averaging almost 9 yards a carry. And so a lot of the numbers that the quarterbacks are throwing is because a lot of people are loading the box to stop the pass. And so, again, it goes back and forth, and it works hand in hand. And like I said, a team that can throw the ball and run the ball, we're not going to sit there and go, hey, we're going to take it all away. We just got to go, okay, in this situation, we want to make it really difficult for them to run the ball. In this situation, we want it really difficult for them to throw the ball.
You said that their defense is kind of sneaky, right? It's something that's not going to necessarily show up all the way on paper, but when you kind of look at their defense right now, what are you kind of game planning for on the offensive side of the ball in terms of beating them out that way?
Yeah, you're looking at backers that play extremely hard, backers that are downhill. They'll have a couple fronts. One of them is an odd front with a nose and 2-5 techniques, and those guys are extremely strong, and they're doing a really good job of restricting space. And then the back end, they're playing with a lot of DBs, and so they can give you different coverage looks without coming out of their shell. And so it's kind of a non-traditional. So you usually see either a 2 high or a 1 high, and so they got an extra guy back there, and so it presents some issues.
Obviously, without Deontay Campbell and Dimitri Lloyd, it's been a little bit rough not having the 2-star guys in there. But talk to me about kind of how the younger ones have stepped up again. So many freshmen on this team, so many playmakers that have really shown out to this point. So tell me about kind of the younger guys' mentality and how they've stepped up here.
Yeah, to be honest with you, and I don't know the exact numbers, but I think we've played more football without Deontay than we have with him. And that's not something we're bragging about, and we're excited when he comes back. But we're in the middle of the season. These guys aren't young anymore. Deshaun Larson's going to come up here not as a redshirt freshman, but our leading ball carrier. You know what I mean? And so we've got to continue to just find ways to move the ball. I don't care who's out there. We still have a really good O-line. We still have a really good quarterback, and we have a lot of capable players. And so it's not like, the well is dry. What do we do? No, we still have Akeem Gilmore. We still have Trace Wilhite. We We still have the 3 backs in the backfield. We still got an O-line that returns a lot of starts. And so regardless of who's out there, it starts up front, doing a good job there, and then everything matriculates off of that. Absolutely. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Coach. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Sean Larson. I'm a redshirt freshman. I play running back. I go to school and I'm studying business, and I'm trying to take over a business after college.
Deshaun, you get your first win of the year. Just talk about, how big that is for you guys, and use that as momentum going forward.
It was awesome having a win for the first time after going 0-4, and then getting this win. It meant a lot. The guys loved it, and I mean, for next week pushing forward, I mean, we just got to strive and take that motivation and that feeling and do good for next week. And
last week you guys were able to run the ball efficiently. So just kind of talk about, what was something that was working for you guys in that second half to really run the ball efficiently later in that game?
Going into second half, we had a big talk as an offensive unit together, and it was more of just let's see what we know what's hitting inside. Inside run was hitting really well. The O-line was making great movement, blocking really well, making those holes easy for me to hit. So big thanks to the O-line and those guys doing their job. And when they do their job, good things happen.
Did you guys find something in that game where you were running the ball so well where you could be able to use that forward going against opponents later in the season?
Yes. What was it? Sorry.
So, you're going against Northeastern State. You're able to run the ball efficiently. You talked about how the O-line, really worked together. Was there something that kind of clicked in that locker room at halftime that you can use going forward for against other opponents?
Yes. As long as the O-line is doing their job, and they're doing a great job last week, I mean, things open up as you see it. The run game was doing really well, and then the running game opened up the pass game. You had Luke, great protection, so Luke could throw the ball over the top, make great plays. O-line, I mean, I can't give them enough credit, but they did awesome. Thanks to them.
As a redshirt freshman, you came in with a couple of guys that were supposed to be ahead of you. Injuries happen, life happens, and
Yep.
now you're the guy.
Yep.
And so talk about the mindset that you had to change for yourself going from that I'm going to compete to I'm the guy.
Yeah, it went from competing and working, and then of course we had Nathan Glades, of course, at top, and he was always doing great things. And having him at top, I always looked forward to him, and he was always a great leader, showing me what to do. And without his help, I don't know what would have happened. But with him, it was great. And stepping up was a big thing, trying to get the motivation and just being big and just stepping up. It was a lot.
As we talk about moving forward against UCO, it's going to be important that we're able to run the ball. And you hear it a lot, I'm sure, the best defense can be a great offense. How do you guys do that this week to help your team get a win?
Ooh, how was our defense? What's the question? Say that again, sorry.
How do you, as an offense, keep things going to give the
Oh.
defense time to get things rolling?
Okay. Just keep the defense off the field. Give them breaks. Make sure they're not tired. Keep the offense out there. Keep us pushing forward. Get down the field. Score, and keep just having long drives. I feel like that's it. What's
All
going
right.
on, man?
So UCO, I mean, as Coach Bradley was talking about, I mean, this is going to be a really tough task for you guys. So, obviously with you being the leading ball carrier now and being the number one guy, what kind of challenges does their front present to you, and how are you looking to kind of cope with that?
They move fast. They get to the ball. I mean, I'm look forward to facing them next week. So I don't know much about them. I just know that they're a fast tempo offense, and their defense gets to the ball and they travel well. So I'm excited to play them next week.
How do you finally feel getting this win, this past week?
About time. That's how I feel. It felt good to win. It just meant a lot to win. You could see everyone was happy and feeling good after they won, after the big win. And so hopefully we carry that into next week, lock in at practice, and get it done.
A lot of road action so far, not as much action at home. Coming back to Missouri Southern and playing, 2 home games. How does that feel being in your own territory now?
Feels good. Hopefully we can get the win at home. I feel like that'd feel like even more like it'd feel better for us. I really hope we go out there and win. That's at home. It's a great feeling to win at home. It's our field. It's our home. Let's keep it that way.
Tell me about your, kind of chemistry with Luke a little bit. You guys were kind of going back and forth on some of the screens and,
Yep.
and kind of working stuff out there. So what's working with Luke Sampson like, and how have you developed so far?
He's working with Luke Sampson is awesome. He's a great leader. When I'm not doing the best, he always cheers me up, helps me out in the backfield, talking to me. And then when I'm also doing great, he's like, "You're doing good, man. Keep going. I love it." So he's awesome. He's always communicating and talking to me. So it's a great bond between me and him.
Good afternoon, y'all. My name's Holt Chappell. I'm a redshirt freshman. I play linebacker. I'm majoring in kinesiology, and I wanted to be a PT after college. Any questions?
Yeah, first question, defensively, you guys pitched a shutout against Northeastern State. I mean, what was it in that second half where you were able to get a lot of success on the defensive end?
We just came out fast, and offense got rolling, which helped us. And, I think when the offense picked up their game, it helped us play better too.
And, you guys go against a really talented offense this week. I mean, what you guys need to do to kind of slow down, some of the premier speed that UCO presents in front of you guys?
Well, it starts in practice. We got to play fast this week, get our, endurance up, and then we got to match their tempo.
You kind of the momentum you have from that first win of the season, how do you use that going forward against other opponents later in the year?
Well, momentum's everything. I mean, in game, you know what I'm trying to say. So, like, if you get things going in game, it continues throughout the game. So, like, whenever we started playing good, our offense started playing good in the second half, it carried through to the end of the game. That's how we were able to win. So, momentum matters more than anything.
Redshirt freshman out on the field to start now after having some guys ahead of you go down. What does it mean to you to start this game, and what do you have to do to stay on the field?
To stay on the field, I just got to be prepared, fly around and make plays.
Again, they're talking about their offense. Do you get tired of hearing about the other guys all the time and not hearing about, how good they are and that you guys are kind of slighted?
No, I mean, we just – can you repeat that one more time?
So the other team's getting all these accolades about how good their offense is, how wonderful they are, and you guys aren't given any credit. Does that kind of fuel you a little bit going forward? That makes you want to play that much harder against these guys?
Oh yeah, of course. All we want to do is win. We work so hard throughout the week. I mean, and then to go out there and lose, it sucks. So of course, yeah, we want to win. It motivates us for sure.
The injured guys that aren't able to be out on the field, how do they help you prepare for a game like this?
Oh, well, Zachary Bergman, he's a great leader on and off the field, and he's been injured. He always keeps me motivated, throughout the week, pushes me in practice, make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So yeah, they're always a big help.
When you look at the offensive side and how things have gone with the pass, they've been tremendously successful on paper and on film. So in kind of reviewing that, what are some things that you're looking to do in terms of challenges that they present?
Can you repeat that one more time?
So when you kind of look at their powerhouse offense with their quarterback, how are you kind of preparing in terms of for their challenges?
Well, I think the best part of I think their tempo is amazing. So I think we just got to match their tempo, and it starts today in practice. We got to be flying around to the ball, and so therefore, if we fly around throughout the week, then we can fly around in the game on Saturday.
What kind of similarities have you noticed with how they kind of scheme things up versus opponents that you've faced in the past that might make things a little bit easier for you?
I've said it 1,000 times, their tempo. I think it will be similar to Emporia. We've played multiple games where the tempo is going to be just as fast as it's going to be this Saturday. So I think we've experienced that before. So, we're just going to have to play fast again.
How does it feel for you? And, as Brock was saying earlier, pitching that shutout in the second half on defense, coming away with your first win?
Oh, it felt great. Like I said earlier, we've been working so hard all season. So just to finally get a win and everything that we've been working, all this work that we've been putting in to finally get a W. It feels great. I think we deserve it.
And so, final thing I'll ask you here, you know, they've been saying it a lot. The road doesn't get any easier
Yeah,
to this
no.
point. I mean, you got a lot of challenges still ahead of you guys, but how does this set you up for the rest of the season? I mean, you're kind of inching closer to the halfway mark here in terms of, you know, the whole season as a group. So how does this kind of set the tone moving forward?
Well, I mean, now we know what it feels like to win, so that's going to help us keep stacking on the wins. So we just got to repeat what we did in the second half of last game throughout the rest of the season. I think we can keep stacking them.